here we are back with Night of Man, and had a long hiatus. The convention, Consim World Expo was a week. As I started the convention, I was hoping to get through a game of GBOH, but my convention days ended up being too long. So I started one of those just before the convention started, and then I wanted to get Medieval Conspiracy on the recorded because that's fairly new and honestly, big warning there. But anyway, go watch the review if you want to know. But as to playing this, so because I'm jumping back in, I'm going to go with another infantry scenario. I don't think there are a lot of infantry-only scenarios, but we're doing another one here. This will be the second one, Confusion. Again, I don't know if I'm going to get through all of the scenarios. There aren't that many, but this isn't really a game that solos all that well. It's much more of, because of the interplay of the cards, it's much more something you want to play with someone else, I think, at least for me. So I do want to get to at least one with a vehicle, though. Anyway, for this particular one, we've got a map with 7 setup squares. E1, E9, F7, we'll find these. E1 is going to be somewhere over here. There's going to be a scattering of these, and the players put all their pieces, except for one that they, I guess, get to choose, in a bag, shake it up, and randomly scatter them about. And then after, and this is the setup, after all the units in the cup are placed, the player places their remaining unit anywhere on the map, but no more closer than 3 to an enemy unit, and you randomly determine who gets first placement. The Oithlings have 3 infantry, no machine gun this time. They have Jack, but they also have this Iskara, who, if we can find, again, I wish that there was a play aid that contained these. Yes, I can flip through and find them. So what do I have here? I have a regular assault capability, but not a bonus assault capability. I have firepower equal to an infantry, although no anti-armored equipment. And, fairly good movement. And what is this? It's a head. Alright, that's going to be Confusion. I can shake a unit within 3 squares. Now this is a power. I need the power card to have come up. And I can do this in conjunction, I think, if I recall correctly, with firing. Obviously, the explosive rounds is in conjunction with firing. I'll have to look up the power rules and make sure that's the case. Now for the mecha, or the aliens, they have a bunch of these mecha again, and then they have a handler. This is a bug handler. In his abilities, he's got close assault capability. He's got firepower equal to humans, but he's got this little bug. He's a Spiderbot handler. Either deploy by placing in unoccupied adjacent spaces the 2 Spiderbots, or activate them for fire, move, or move and fire, with the move fire penalties applying. Now, we'll have to find those. Here they are. They themselves, let's pop one out. These counters fall out of the tree very easily, which, you know, probably isn't too big a deal because you're going to put them in a bag to store them. But okay, and the Spiderbot itself has some anti-tank capability, and what else does it have? It has assault capability, but it has this little flamey thing here, which I'm not sure what it is. Oh, there it is. Combined attack. When the Spiderbots combine their HEF when attacking a single target, or when attacking an assault combat, they add 1 HEF to the combined HEF. So that's kind of cool. And they can also combine their armor piercing factors when attacking a hard target. And you'll do that like a normal infantry combine of fire. So I guess the thing to look up at this point is the power, but let me jump to the rest of the scenario rules and then we'll get there. This works out. This is just a killing scenario. You get points if you kill mechas or handlers. The Earthlings get 3 points each for those. The militia are only worth 2 points each, whereas Jack and a Sakara are both worth 3. And that is it. This is just a kill 'em scenario. It's only 4 turns maximum, I believe, with 3 end turn cards triggering the end of the turn. All right, so let's go to setup. Okay, we're going to try something temporarily here a little bit. This is such a small map, I think I might be able to get away with using my little table tripod. I find this totally useless in most of my games. If, you know, something inappropriate falls on the table, well, that's... we'll try not to have that happen. I've decided to hold off on putting the handler, hey, this kind of works, and Jack into the bag. So now I'm just going to rattle up this bag, and this is a lot easier on my hand, I'll tell you that much. So I shake up the bag and I look for the first place where we put something. The handler was the obvious choice for the alien player, I think. That's something I want to really control where he is to keep him out of danger. Jack was a harder call because maybe my little mental stunner is more important, but the reason that to keep protected, but the reason that I want Jack is because I can put her near some of my own units so that she can get her her leadership bonus. If you haven't seen the earlier one, her bonus is inspirational. She adds to the targeting or HEF for any assault units within 2 squares. So that's pretty cool. Okay, so the first one is E1, and in E1 we have Iskara. The next one is over here, and obviously this little tiny tripod is not going to work when I want to scan, you know, a map that's the size of the table, which is most of my games take up that much table space, but this is so tiny I thought I could get away with that. E9 is the next one. I don't know how people handle it otherwise. Okay, and that's going to be a mech there. And this is just an early morning patrol that they run into each other at close range. Okay, the next one's F7, and that's some infantry. Okay, facing matters, so I shoot. Oh man, they stumbled on each other, didn't they? B2. I don't know what this terrain is. You probably can't see it, and my control of zoom is pretty crappy. So let's... There it is. It's like this little radar station thing. Whether or not that counts as a building, this is one of the problems. Oh yes, it is very clear. It is the only thing that counts as a building. All right. And this, I'm assuming, is a junkyard. It, in fact, is the exact picture of a junkyard. So we got to think. This, by the way, is a pond, a really ugly pond. Let's put this here. I can allow people to rearrange their facing if something seems really weird, but we don't know. Okay, B8. We have some infantry up here. This is on a hill. I don't know what this is. It's like some religious thing. Probably the humans built it. They're always doing that kind of crap. Okay, and now C10 feels really funny without the without the camera in my hand to be chattering away like this. That was always part of my questioning of it was, you know, I could get a bigger tripod. I actually have one. It's hard to use though. And now the last one is D4. And I'll face them that way. I guess I'll use a die to determine who's going to have to place first. That'll be Jack has to be placed first. I would like Jack not to be out in the open, but on the other hand, this is a space which affects two of my things. Over here, though, I could slip her behind this hill. It's kind of a dangerous place, but she's got command of both of these infantry in that way. So I think that's probably what I'm going to do. Can't do that because she's not allowed to be within 3 of any enemy units. No closer than 3 to an enemy unit. And I'm 1, 2, 1, 2. If I move back here, wow. If I move to here, I've got these two under control. Everybody's going every which way. Okay. Now the handler is the next one, and we could actually be in a position, I don't know if it's physically possible, but I could see being in a position where maybe there's nowhere you could be on the map. Now, here for example, you're not within 3 of anything that's possibly on the map. Where do I want to put these handlers? Well, I got 2 mechs down here. This one down over here looks like he's in a bit of danger. When the handler uses his ability, he places bots in unoccupied adjacent squares. Now, and they're allowed to fire, move, or move and fire during the impulse that they're placed. 1, 2. I think if I hide back here, that may be kind of my best place. Alright, let's pause for a bit while I figure out how you get this started. Okay, we start with the initial bid, the bid for initiative situation. Here's what the Earthlings have for cards. A bunch of fire and movement. Hey, maybe they have the magazine. And this countermeasures, let's go get them. Countermeasures is definitely something I want to hold, so I'm not going to bid that. These others being all the same, I could bid anything I want. Do I want to go high or do I want to go low is really the question, because all these cards are the same. None of them has the power or anything like that. And for that, I look at the board situation, which I don't know if you can see, because I can't, you know, play around with the camera the way I usually do. But there's a certain closeness between these units. They've all kind of stumbled on each other. So I think moving first with a lot of fire is good, so I'll play this 9-point fire movement factor. Likewise, over here, let's see what I got. Oh, I got an end turn. Okay, I'm never sure what to do with these when you're dealt them at the beginning of the game, but when you're dealt them at the beginning of a turn in normal, they count against your turn. I think that's not the case when you first set up the game. But I don't remember. That may have been something I just made up. So I'm going to put that over in the end turn thing, because there's only so many of these cards in a deck, and turns should have a certain pace. I probably already, again, not sure what the rules are on this. They're not clear on this. when you draw a card as a combat result, I'm not sure whether or not it counts against the end turn deck. I've been discarding those, so this may help make up for that if I'm doing it differently. Okay, so what do we have here? We have a heavy artillery, which is great if I have artillery, but I do not. Let's go get them. Well, I have no infantry units, so this is a useless card. Unfortunately, it also has a bid of 0 on it. I'm not infantry. I might want to move, but this is an even worse card, probably a discard. Fire and move, you know, a crappy bid, and then aimed shot, which is not useful to me, and fast movement. The fact that this card is completely useless and the others are of some value, potentially, I'm going to bid this sucker. But I'm pretty much guaranteed not to get the initiative here. And we flip these over, and indeed I get my crappy card back, which I did not want, and the initiative ends up over on the Earth side. And I need to probably look something up. You know, one of the things is I can turn the camera off for other excuses, but I kind of like to turn it off anyway. So. Okay, so what I was mistaken about was facing, and I thought that was possibly the case. The facing of the units don't matter at all as long as they're infantry units. So I'm going to actually just face them all in one direction for my ease for each side. And when you get to the vehicle combat, facing matters. I wasn't sure that was the case, but then when I started thinking about the squads. So I open up by drawing a card, and then I figure out what I want to do. Well, I have these fire and movement cards, and this is really hard displaying these because I have to walk around the table to show you. And now I have to move them to where I can see them instead of holding the camera, right? Yeah, this isn't going to happen very often. Okay. So this is a defensive card, which is not useful right now. I'm probably going to want to fire. And let's see what kind of fire capability I have. Well, the line of sight between these is blocked, and this is where I don't like these squares. They kind of nibble off the line of sight in some ways that I don't necessarily agree with. Here, though, it's, well, kind of cut in this corner, but in this case it's believable. Here, obviously, it's blocked. You got these red lines to indicate the boxes that block it. Okay, the hill line of sight is strangely worded. I'm not sure I have a line of sight between these two units. I don't know if you can see them on the map. There's one here and one back here. The actual values on the units aren't too important. You get to see them in the other videos. So I'll keep doing it this way and see if we can learn anything from this experiment. Okay. Now hilltops have a special rule with line of sight. Only the red lines surrounding other hills block hill line of sight. And in this case, this hill is blocking my line of sight. So we can't see each other until we're on the same level, or if I move to the crest of the hill. So the only fire that I have that's legitimate is here. I think I want to make it, although it's probably not too good. So I'm at range 2. We've done this all before, but maybe people like the stability. So range 2 leg unit firing gives me a +1. So now I have a 1 + 1 is 2 firepower, and he has a defense, so I'd only get a 1 firepower. I think it's worth doing, though, to open up, so I'll throw my fire card. Now I have no reactions at all, so 1 card is drawn. And that card does not have a hit on it. fired marker over here on my infantry. I can discard some crap if I have some. I like most of the crap I have. The only thing I'm iffy about is this fire move card. But if I don't have this and I draw some kind of nice card next turn, that'll cause me problems. So I'm going to hold off on that. And we'll go to the mechs. The mechs have all 4 cards, so they don't get a draw. So what do they want to do? Well, the problem for me is I'm not quite as good at attacking in assault combat. I don't have the same advantages in assault combat that I do in regular combat. So really, those Earthlings should have charged. But if they charged, if somebody charged through here, they'd get opportunity fire. So I think what I want to do is just expose myself. I'm going to play a fast move card, mainly because I don't want to waste my fire card. I'm going to move this guy. 1, 2. Now this isn't optimal. I'm exposing myself here. I have a moved marker on me. I could maybe get rid of that moved marker. Oh, you can't see that. Let's see if we can. Okay, so there's a moved marker over here. And now, now I'm basically, I don't get op fire because I didn't spend a full movement point in his view, because this hill still blocks. Now the question is what I want to get rid of. I certainly want to get rid of this. This is not a terribly useful card to me. But I may also want to get rid of this heavy artillery. Again, it's not, you know, if I draw the artillery, it's great. But at this point, that's not the case. I'll put my turn marker over on the Earthlings. Screw using a tripod, it's just not working. Let's go to here. 3 cards, I draw 1. What do I want to do? I don't have infantry close to each other here. Unfortunately, they're kind of all scattered all over the place. So, and move and fire doesn't work well. No power anywhere listed. I really don't have a whole hell of a lot I want to do. I think I'll try to plug this guy. Since he's out in my range, I think that's the best I can do. I get the jack bonus, which means I'm at 2 plus 1, 3, 1 for the range. 3 against him. He gets a reduction. Let's see if he has a countermeasure of some sort. He does not. Which means I get 2 cards against him. And we did not get any hits. Huh. Anything I want to get rid of? Rally's useful, but I don't know if I need it. Light wounds is exceedingly useful. Countermeasures is exceedingly useful. I'm going to get rid of this card. I've got something that covers it. And yeah, I could get rid of another card, but I don't really want to bother with that. So we go over here. New handful. Alright, second wind. This is appealing because it means I can fire here, but I don't know that I want to do that right away. I may want to try to do some casualties first. I got a bunch of fire cards, so we'll open up on him. He's got a 2 HEF, no defensive factors. That is rough terrain though, so that drops me down to a 1. I could do countermeasures and say I'm not going to get hurt. Okay, did I play the fire card? Yes, I have a couple of these. I like the cards I have. I don't particularly want to get rid of them, which means we're back here. Not useful. Okay, I've got a power card, my first power card. Now I can use this with Isakura or whatever here. Who has this brain hurt power, which could just shake a unit. Now, yeah, that's the... Need not have line of sight. It's 3 spaces. That doesn't seem like a terribly bad result. If I can close combat a shaken unit, that would give me some additional advantages. So honestly, I think that's the best thing I can do. And I'm going to just blast that off. There's no defense against it. Doesn't work on Spiderbots, but I'll drop that on him, her, whatever. I get it. I get an ops complete. And now we got to decide what we're doing. This is going away. Fast move doesn't sound terribly good either. So I can get rid of both of them. Puts us here. Could just leave these face up, huh? I think I learned to do that. I see where all the hits are, huh? Do I have a rally? That would be a good use. I do not. So I'm going to second wind. You know, I think I didn't fire at this. So that hilltop will give a defensive bonus here as well. It would be nicer to take this guy out because it's near Jack. So I'm going to second wind over here. That gets rid of... is there anything I want to get rid of? I'll get rid of the move and fire. I'll get rid of a fire. None of them really help. Alright, we'll pause for a bit. An end turn card comes up. Number 3 of them causes an issue. I got a double rally. That could be really useful. Or I could play 2 actions all at once. I like holding this. Ever reload and fire, that can add 1 to my firepower for one of these units. I would like to do it from here. I also have a bloodlust, but that looks less useful. And then I have a power card, which I probably want to hold on to. They're pretty rare, and since I have an ability to shake things, that could be useful. If I could get that on the handler, that might be a good idea. But right now, I'm going to do this reload and fire. That's going to move me up to ops complete in the end. But my firepower is... I didn't want to do this one. My firepower is 1, 2, a third one for the reload and fire because I'm targeting the same person or thing. But I have a defensive... This has a defensive bonus, so it's 2 hits. And it's a star hit, which means it doesn't affect. Firepower is really being ineffective in this game. I can't give up any of my cards. So, and it kind of keep them face up. That helps me to see if there's any options I want to do. That puts us over here. I have a bloodlust. I could rally a unit. That might be worthwhile for over here. have a reload and fire, which I could use. The danger of a unit being attacked while it's shaken is my heaviest worry, so I'm going to bloodlust this guy. Get rid of his shaken. And now, is there anything I want to get rid of? I don't really like these cards. The move and fire. They give you a reduced fire rate and fire effectiveness, and it just doesn't. It's hard enough to hit in this. Okay, so we're over to him. Gets a card. Hey, it's another reload and fire. I got my power card, but I can't use it. I'm ops complete. So we'll do the reload and fire. And that's going to be 1 plus 1 for the reload and fire is 2 down 1. I don't know how I got a bonus last time. Oh, I forgot close range for that last shot. Oh well. So that's 1 hit, 2 hits. First hit shakes, second hit flips, and we lit someone up. He doesn't have infantry, so he can't play the light wounds, which I thought you could do before. You know, it feels kind of like infantry, right? But those mecha are not. Okay. I can't rally this unit because he's already done something. I have my power. I have the power. I think that means a couple of Spiderbots. Now, what's kind of cool about the Spiderbots is I think they could still be operated under normal usage. When activated, a Spiderbot is automatically rallied. Place an ops complete marker on it. Okay, either deploy or activate them for fire and move. The Spiderbots, I want to see if they can. The handler may also move or fire as part of the action. To perform the actions listed above, the Spiderbots must begin the impulse within 2 squares. Okay, but they may move or fire or move and fire during the impulse they are placed, which seems to indicate that, yeah. Okay, but they have to start within 2 spaces. Okay. The first hit on a Spiderbot reduces it, the second eliminates it. I guess they're not shaken. They can be shaken by an APF result? What the fuck, are they vehicles? Oh my, they're little vehicles. Alright, so they have an armor factor. So we're going to get to do vehicle combat here. Oh, that's kind of cool. Yeah, but they're leg vehicles. Okay, whatever. So they have the little values of vehicles, so we'll take a look at that. So we do get to do our first vehicle combat this time. That's targeting an AP, and they have an armor factor. Okay. Well, that's interesting. Okay, so let's power them up. That seems like a good move. And we can put, what are they like? They have some firepower capabilities. I guess they have to be put in different spaces. I'd like to knock this sucker out, and they're sort of the perfect things to do it. So why don't we do this? And we'll look at our, I thought they'd be little infantry instead of little tiny vehicles. Moving through rough, they're leg units, they only cost 1. So I can move 1, 2, 1, 2, 3. I can be doing a move and fire with them. And now let's look at what Mr. Spiderbot Handler has. The handler may move or fire as part of the action. Well, he'll just move. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay. And he gets an ops complete after that. But these guys are going to move and fire. So at range, maybe I want to be at range 2. At range 1, because they're not terribly good. Let's see at this at melee combat, but then again, neither's he. And they don't have that defensive ability. They have something, though. They have this combined attack, which adds 1 to the normal combined fire. What the hell's going on out there? Moving truck. Okay, so let's drop 2 HE rounds, essentially, on them. 1 plus 1 for support. Okay, so I'm at 2. I'm at range 1. That brings me to 3. The cover for the rough terrain. Oh, no, that's woods. The cover for the woods is going to be 1. So that drops us back down to 2. I can't fire with him. These things, I think, get marked. We'll see what's up with that. But I got 2 shots against that thing. Or dude. 1 is nothing because it's only for close combat. The other one is a hit, though. So now I have shaken Isakara. Now let's see what's up with these bots. They get an ops complete, right? The first hit on a shadow, the second. Spiderbots cannot be shaken except when activated. They're automatically rallied. They get an ops complete marker on them. Okay. So we get 1 on each of these little spiders. They're cute. Anything I want to discard? And that was fatiguing enough that I probably need another break. This is useful still. This might be useful. This is potentially useful. But I think it's not, so I'm going to toss that. And then we'll come back in a bit. All right, over here on the human turn. Can't do the rallies. Could have done a damn light wounds, couldn't I? And probably forgot to do that. Oh well. Reload and fire. I thought I did that here, but I guess it was here. I'll do that. Base fire. 1 plus 1 for range, plus 1 for reload puts me up to 3, drops down to 2 for his defense, I guess. That's a... This is the hurt one? I think I hit the wrong one. Because I think this is the one that should be shot up, because I just got... Basically what I'm saying is I think it was that second shot that did something. And if I did it from here, it should have affected this guy. I can discard. Well, I should discard this if I'm not going to use it. I have a power card. I don't want to get rid of the Rally 2. I can get rid of the Rally 2. Because I need to be able to do some stuff with these characters. But the problem is... Oh. Hold on. Infantry has a power. If I use the infantry power to fire, I get an extra pip. The problem is... I don't have a line of sight on anything. Oh, I have a line of sight going across the lake, right? I hope so. Okay. So I think I'm going to hold on to my cards because I can get a shot on one of those stupid little bugs, but that's okay. Now what's screwy here, what's not explained, I don't think. I think the Spiderbots, if they're destroyed, can't come back through a use of different power. But what's hard to tell here is he may deploy the 2 Spiderbots, which makes it sound like if they get wrecked, that's all he has. So that's how I'm going to kind of play this. Over here we get some draws. the turn ends. So we don't actually get our turn. We're going to go to the cleanup stuff for the turn, but if I recall correctly, there's sort of there's a phase in which the units that have already gone get to do something. See where the end of turn stuff is. Reserve phase. The player with the initiative has to go first. So I can move a space into here. I believe I'm allowed to move adjacent. I'm within 3 squares. I can move 1 square, but may not enter an enemy square. And then I have Jack here. And the problem with this is I've split Jack up between 2 spaces, or between these 2 groups. I'm going to move Jack here, I guess. Okay, and that puts it over to these guys. Now, I can give some protection to that handler here with this. This shaken guy can't move because he's within 3 spaces and shaken. So I've done all that. Now we clean up and we discard down to 1 card. First time I'm facing, including the last scenario, the hard question of, hey, I may want to go first. I may want that initiative, but cards that I like, for example, the countermeasures here, which reduces your damage draws or whatever, is my big 10 card. And I don't want to spend that, so I spent the biggest card I had that I have plenty of. I hope that's not my power card now. That's over here. And over here I faced a similar situation where the 1 card I had that had a good value on it is one I want. It's Bloodlust and Artillery, both of which are very valuable pieces. Now Bloodlust, yep, I could use that to rally one of these, so that's appealing. So the successful bid goes over to the humans. And now aim shots aren't useless now because of these Spiderbots. They are vehicles, which means I could actually increase my targeting modifier. Now we have not done an anti-vehicle fire yet in any of the games I've played. I'm not sure I want to do it here. What I think I want to do here is I want to trigger my power and I want to try to blast the handler. I'm at range 1. Now I could conceivably just go in. However, no, he's stacked 2 in there, so I can't push in there. That's a little weird that you can't melee when there's 2 units there, but whatever. So I'm going to use my power. That adds, I think it's 2, but I'm not sure. Yeah, that adds 2 to his high explosive factor. So I have 1 plus 2 is 3, plus range brings me to 4 fire. The handler has no defenses, but he does take 1 off for the cover that he's got. So I'm down to 3. First fire is not going to help me. Light wounds might. So let's see what we get here. No. 1 hit. I'm going to light wounds that to prevent it. And we get a fired marker on these infantry. I could discard some cards. I'm not sure this is terribly useful to me, but the problem is I got these damn bots. And if I take out the handler, it gets rid of the bots, right? Yep. So I would like to get rid of him, but now I've lost my opportunity to do so. and I may want to do an aim shot. I have no anti-vehicle weapon here. My pistol is not going to do anything against those bots. I'm going to toss this card. It's not helping me. By the way, in the initial deal, an end turn card came up. I probably have to reshuffle the deck. Well, not quite yet, but very shortly. Okay. Got a light wound. Oh no! Did I use the light wounds? I couldn't use the light wounds. That applies to infantry only. And the handler is a handler, not an infantry. So I get a stun marker on him. Or shaken. And no draw. I'm stuck with that initial hand that I've got, which is not good. Reload and fire I probably want to hold on to. This is absolutely useless. That'll get discarded. I can do an artillery strike. Square and 2 adjacent. Well, if I hit this square, I can artillery fire these 2. Do I really need that, though? I've already knocked these guys out. Do I have anything better I'd like to do? Not really. I do have the Bloodlust. That's appealing. Why don't I Bloodlust this guy? That recovers some of his damage. Is that better or worse than the artillery fire? Jeez, artillery fire is so potent. I don't know if I want a Bloodlust. That's going to be 3 HEF versus a soft target. That sounds pretty good to me. There's some protection here, but nothing here. Alternatively, I could do it here, where I don't know if there is protection or not, because that's a hill. It only works against non-arty. So I can get better firepower if I hit these 2 spaces. So I'll drop the bomb here, and, well, first shot does nothing. We'll do Jack first. I'm going to drop that by 1, so it's only, so instead of 3 firepower, it was down to 2, so I got 1 more coming after I reshuffle. We get a hit on Jack, which puts that here. Now the other one was here. That's going to be 3 shots on that, and I got nothing to defend against. 3 shots could all take effect, so I'm not too worried. There's 1, there's 2. Having to do with the end of turn cards, those were a big deal in the first scenario, which had a time, you know, they all have a time limitation on it, but that one had a time limitation which favored one side versus the other. Here, it's just the length of time for the combat, so we don't have to worry too much about that. We don't have a certain amount of time to wipe the enemy out. We just blundered into each other. In some cases, the scenarios may be balanced based on the decision of how that card is played. And so, you know, my interpretation of the rules, whether or not it's right, may be an issue with those. But it's not here. Okay, I do not need this card. I don't need this card either. So I can get rid of those. That's 3 cards over here. Oh, another artillery. Well, I don't have as good a location to drop an artillery on. I can hit here and blow the shit out of this stuff, though. Is that my best option? Yeah, probably. You know, I've got these shaken. They might recover, but yeah, this is the same card. So we're going to drop that artillery. Now, this is only going to be drawing 3 HEF against a soft... Oh, it only works against a soft target. These Spiderbots are a hard target. So hitting these 2 may not be as good an option. Because, first of all, I've got the woods, which doesn't provide any cover. So yeah, let's go after these with the artillery. I'm going to get 3 draws. I'll take the first hit proportioned on the handler if I can. And all he's got is this light wounds, which will not work. So that's one hit on the handler, second hit, third hit. So the handler takes 2 hits. That kills the handler because he's already shaken. He flips twice. That takes the Spiderbots out. And the extra hit was here on the mecha, and that was an incredibly effective set of fire from that artillery. Compared to everything else we've been seeing here. Is there anything I want to get rid of? Well, how many fire move markers do I need? I can ditch one. Hey, I'm in the lead right now, so I want to play out the turns, right? It's not going to go that quickly. Okay, so here are the draws. Aimed shot, not terribly useful. Power. Again, I lost my power ability here. I don't think any of my mechas have power, so that doesn't really matter. I want to hold that if I'm only going to fire one. The main problem I have is I'd like to recover, and I can't. So what happens if I unload on these infantry? Well, not too much. I'm kind of hurt here. Jack's behind the woods. I don't really have a great target. I have this infantry I could shoot at, the Iskara. I can't fire. Oh, that sucks. I'm all shaken. I'm all shook up. Let's get rid of. Let's hold the power. We're only allowed to discard 2 cards maximum. Now we've passed. The humans could pass as well and get rid of and end the turn right here. An interesting concept, actually. Is my hand that great? Do I want another shot because I can take it at this mech right here? I think I do want the shot. There's 2 more turns after this. Getting some more hits on the aliens would help. So we'll go with that. And we have a rally, which could be very useful. We'll play one of our fire cards. Could actually go marching in here with a move. We're better at move than at fire. I think that's an even better idea because all of his stuff is suppressed right now. So we'll go in. All right, that's going to be a close assault. Now, because he's shaken, we have first fire in the assault combat. We totally HEF of the attacking units. Well, the problem with that is stacking. So the stacking rules, as I understood it, and why I couldn't go into a hex with 2 enemies, it's per side. Ah, nice. I was expecting not to find that clarified in the rules, so I could have actually attacked with an assault there. So my HEF is 2, and I think there's no terrain bonus on this. They can be modified by abilities, powers, and supporting cards. Ooh, it's hard to hit. It's an ability. It's hard to hit in effect only against fire. It's only ranged artillery and only ranged combat, not close combat. So I have, it looks to me like 2, which is what I would have on fire. I'm not really sure that it makes sense for me to charge in then. Let's see, if I attacked with 2, so if I fired here I could get 2. Well, there's more effective hits here, so we'll check this. So we get 1, 2 hits. We've wiped him out. He has nothing that he can do against it. However, we did a move. Let's gives us this. These go away, and that's like 6 points in the bank right there. That's going to be pretty hard to overcome. Is there anything I want to get rid of? I kind of like my cards. The rally's the only one that maybe I wouldn't use, because the move and fire I'm definitely not going to use, I think. But, yeah. So we go over here. Too bad we didn't hold on to artillery, right? And that's one reason to hold it. I got to fire, I got to reload and fire. None of that's going to help me. I need a rally. I know the artillery's been used. I pass again. Do we want to go? These guys can't assault. I have a rally. Do I want to play the rally? That's really the question here. I've done a lot of damage. If I pass at this point, the turn's over, and I'm the only one with fatigued units. Units that have done something. So I think I'm going to pass at this point. Which means anything I have that hasn't moved can, but not shaken stuff within 3. So I can move Jack a space. Nope. It's within 3, I think. You know, you stop at 3. Yep. Yeah, so I cannot move anything. That allows the mecha to go. They don't have anything that is not within 3 either. So we remove the markers. We set the initiative back here. We go to turn 3, and both players are going to have to discard some cards. Now, the real question here, you know, which one's most useful, the reload and fire or the fire with the power? I like reloads and fire so much, but I want to hold that power out of the Earthling's hands for the next reshuffle, maybe. More, it looks like I may not get to fire at all anyway. Everything's shaken. On his side, rally is the important one. Now, I might have wanted not to end the turn at that point. Countermeasures is useful too, though. But it looks like he's not firing, so I think rally's the important card. We'll deal out some new cards, and we'll go to another turn. I think I'm going to... I feel like we're almost done with this scenario. Because if we look at the points, the 2 leaders, 3, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 points available in human stuff, and I've only killed 6. The other 6 are still kicking around. So I have to play it all out. The only thing is, I think it might go pretty quickly, but I'm going to load this one up, and we'll break it into 2 pieces. This one is called Confusion. Interesting situation on the initial bidding here, in what is it called? Confusion. So, over with the alien player, he's picking a low-ranking card. Not for any real reason, but because he doesn't want to give up, in particular, his best ranked card. Oh, this isn't that low ranked. It's actually his highest ranked card. I was looking at the wrong number. I wonder... Okay. So he went with a high ranked card, but he wants to play this one, and he's willing to throw out a card which isn't terribly useful to him. Bulletstorm is useless. Move, well... I kept a fast move instead, which is better for all things. For the humans, though, I'm throwing out a -2 on purpose, trying to keep the card, because I like everything in my hand, and hey, I get to do that. Initiative goes over to these guys. Initiative wasn't that important a consideration. Now, the reason I want it to go, another power card, is I have this rally too. Now this finishes my units for the turn. It makes them both ops complete, which is, you know, I'd rather have a bloodlust. But on the bright side, it means that if I'm assaulted, the Earthlings don't get first fire. I'm probably in a world of hurt here. Like I said, it's essentially over. I'm on turn 3 out of 4 turns, and I've just wasted, all my effects for this turn. And I'm not even, I'm not even at the beginning of turn 3 according to that. Let's put that in the deck because that was from last turn. We just did a bid. Okay, so now I'm at the beginning of turn 3. Is there something I want to get rid of? This is not a terribly useful card. Over here, I like Second Wind. Rally is incredibly important to me. I would like the Rally too, because I have a bunch of shaken units. I'm trying to see if there's anything else I want to do. This, I'd have to discard a card in order to play 2 more actions. So I could get rid of my fire and rally 2 of my units. What are my alternatives? Well, most of my stuff's shaken, so that's actually pretty appealing. Is any of it damaged? This guy's hurt. Of course, that means getting rid of my Second Wind, which is always a good card, and a reload and fire. And this card's not terribly useful, but I think that's what I'm gonna do. The only other alternative really would be to open fire on someone. If I had a power, I might want to use that to try to knock this guy out, because this guy's already hurt, so he's in fair shape. So this will give me more cards. So I command ops, I discard a card, and I play a pair of rallies, and I get rid of everything. That makes 2 of my units ops complete. I think I want to get Jack into play up there at some point, obviously, rather than my psychopath or whatever it is. My mental person. Yeah, I seem to be using the wrong word there. How about a psionic or mentally capable person? Okay. I let my battery kind of run down while I was loading up, so I'm going to pause for a bit to swap out. But let's put some quick thought to this. Oh, an end of turn card. Okay, what do we got here? Armor piercing doesn't help. Penetration doesn't help. Countermeasures is useful to me. My other cards not so useful. The problem, of course, is do I want to discard them? And the answer is yes, I do. So I'll get rid of one of these, drop these cards. I guess we'll do one more series of action. That's 4 cards for the Earthlings. Now I got the bonus Bloodlust that I would have liked elsewhere. It also has a power. Another Bloodlust without the power. Ooh. Another Bloodlust. Wow. And some other cards. I think I'm going to play one of my Bloodlusts. Which one? I'll play the Simple Movement. And remove this. Doesn't make them ops complete. I'm going to get rid of this card. It's not terribly useful. I need more draws. But at the very least, I can fire off my Bloodlust and stun this on my next play. All right, now we'll swap battery. So now we're in kind of an interesting position. If I can get my zoom to work. 2 more card draws. No end of turn. There's nothing much I can do here. I have a bunch of crap. But I'm all ops complete, and there's really nothing you can do once you're ops complete, which means I'm probably going to just discard cards or pass without discarding cards, which might actually work better. I have a countermeasure, the light wounds. I don't really care about this. So I'll get rid of, I could replace this card know what I'm going to get out of it. The reason I don't really want to discard is I don't really want the turn to end necessarily, but I have nothing I want to do, so why not? Okay, so I'll play a reinforcements. We'll try to burn the deck here. Too bad I've got ops completes instead of moves or fires, right? This is a nice card. It's probably what I want to keep. Countermeasure, that's useful to me, so I'll just discard one card. Now I have passed. That reinforcements card doesn't count as a card played, so that means the Earthling could just pass and move the turn marker forward and say, hey, I'm winning, you know. If this was the last turn of the game, that would make absolute sense, but since I have a somewhat of an advantage at this point, I'm going to just keep playing. So now, what do I have? I could use my fire to stun this, or my power to stun this. That sounds like a pretty good idea. Now, power makes me ops complete, which is, of course, always a disadvantage. But I have weakened his active unit. Now, do I want to play any of these others? This is not a terribly useful card to me. Yeah, we'll discard this as well. I'm kind of worried about running out the turn is the problem. It was a second end of turn. Not a useful card. I really have nothing to do. I'll discard this card again. I don't want to discard the power because he's got someone who can use that. The other cards I kind of like. We draw. Bulletstorm, that's nice if I have a fire. I do have a fire. This is one of my few units that can do anything. So I'm going to play a fire with him. Fired marker out. I'm going to play a Bulletstorm. That gives me 1, 2, 3, 4 for range, down to 3, down to 2. Cover and his bonus. Drop it down to 1. And you can see how hard it is to actually get a shot off here. Now, if I could have moved, that would have been great. But this, so I wouldn't allow Bulletstorm in an assault, even though you use the HEF factor. And again, I don't know if that's reasonable or not. So my value is a hit, though. And I got nothing that can handle that. So now another damaged mech. And the fired marker goes up here. I want to keep these cards. They're both good. Especially those reload and fires. A couple more draws. I got nothing I can use. I'll use the reinforcements, try to burn cards. Oh. Now my rally, I could do a recovery action where I actually heal my unit if I wasn't in line of sight at this point. But I'm in line of sight everywhere, so that's not going to really help me. I couldn't use it now while I'm ops complete, but I could on another turn. I don't want to give up my power cards. I don't really want to give up my second wind. I will discard this card. I don't have to. And again, I've passed, which means the turn ends. I should get one more card for the Earthlings so that they have a full hand to choose to discard from, I think. Not really sure about that. Does it just end? I think it ends immediately, so I don't have to worry, and I can reshuffle all the end turn cards in there. I'm not going to look this up. It's really not, it's not that important a thing, I think. I think this is a foregone conclusion anyhow. Do we have any actions to do? Well, he can move 2 spaces and get into range of that. The ops completes and fireds come off. And we're moving to another turn. Though the game's a foregone conclusion, the initiative picks are still kind of tricky. I still try to play it as well as I can, right? So here, I've gotten rid of all my power cards. An end turn card came up in the draw. So we're almost we're 2 end turns away from ending. I kept a fire card. Bloodlust is always useful. Second Wind is always useful. That way I can recycle my shots. Bloodlust will allow me to unshake. This is a card I'm willing to lose. It's the only one I'm willing to lose. So if I have high bid, it doesn't matter if I give this up. Over here it's even tougher though. Move and Fire is the only card that I can assault with. Everything else doesn't allow that. Fire, the power allows me to shake him and kind of, you know, knock him out of the combat again, which would be a nice option. I kind of don't want to get rid of that. Reload and Fires are always good. Bloodlust is good. I really don't know what to give up. I think I'll give this up since I have 2 Reload and Fire options. And of course, if I'm overbid, I get to keep it. But as we know, that is not what happens. And instead I get the initiative here. And then we get to open up. Ooh, a Blitzstorm. That's going to help. Fire first in assault combat cannot be shaken. Assault combat capable unit only. Well, that sounds pretty sweet too. Move and Fire won't get me from here to here though. That's the problem. I would have liked to charge in with that. Woods, I think, only cost me 1 as a leg unit. So I could just march in and attack that unit, but I don't need this. I don't need the ambush for this. So I'll hold on that for Bulletstorm, I think. Or I could shoot initially from here, and I could use some supporting fire as well, which might be my better move. But I would have to use my fire card for that. I think this is my best option. I'll charge in here. He has nothing that can react. So now I've got a firepower of 1 plus 1 for my bonus. That gives me a 2. He's got a firepower, well, he's shaken, so it doesn't actually matter. So I've got a firepower of 1 plus 1, so I've got 2 draws on him. We have to do these in order because if we get a hit, we don't draw for another card. We got a hit, we took the other mecha out. He has moved. We'll turn him to face the rest of the field. There's nothing I want to get rid of. I've got a good hand of cards over here. Well, I'm down to 1 unit. I don't know, you know, I have no exit rules or anything. These things are suicidal anyway. I'll play a fire card. I have an HEF of 1, which goes up to a 2 if I shoot here, but then back down because of, except my line of sight cuts the hill there, and this is where I do not like the line of sight rules, and I kind of want to fudge them. It's the same way as with the buildings. You know, can't I poke my head out and fire? Can't I see, you know, this? I'm going to say yes, because that's, I think I've actually taken some fires through there. But again, by the game system itself, this hill space blocks the fire between these two, even though I don't believe that that's at all reasonable. All right. And it's not the first game I've had problems with the line of sight not working, right? Okay, so we've got a firepower of 1. I could at least kill a unit. That seems like my best option here. Plus 1 for range. So that puts me up to 2. The hill drops me back down to a 1. Now the reason, I'm not going to be able to kill him here, and I might want to shake this unit to prevent him from killing my last unit, but I don't know. Sure, we'll do that. I've got a 1 either way, so we'll fire at that. The thing is, I have multiple fires, so I could knock a unit out, but I think I'd like to take this thing down if I could. I do not get a hit. Is there anything I want to get rid of? This is not a useful card. I could have actually played that and gotten another draw. I don't really like that capability, but whatever. Anyway, I didn't do it, so we go back to here. And I really ought to stop because I'm loading videos up and this scenario is just about over. All right. So now I have 2 bullet storms. I can only use 1 on any given fire. I have a fire card. I guess we'll use this. We'll fire from It Really Doesn't Matter. I'm going to throw supporting fire in. That's 2 fire. I've got either a 0 at +1 due to range, or a 1 straight up. So that's 2 fire base. I add 1 for the bullet storm, that goes up to 3. I subtract 1 for his defensive capabilities. I am a 2 fire chart. 1 hit, 2 hits, the scenario's over. He was stunned and already wounded. Complete victory by the humans. Woo woo. All right, why was this so unbalanced? Not sure. Some of the cards definitely favor the humans, because they're the infantry-only advantages. On the other hand, the mecha are better. I think it's the random scenario setup that caused it, but that spider thing, well, the fact that he was in an exposed position caused real problems for the mecha. I think the tricky part of this scenario is keeping him somewhere where he can do things with his spiders and not get killed. And the fact that I was able to get him, that I was able to knock him out as the humans very quickly and easily, I think indicates a failure on my part. The problem is, of course, he was attacked, there were attacks possible from multiple directions. And certainly the random sprinkling of characters looked like it favored the humans a little bit at the beginning. So anyway, this is confusion, and maybe we'll just tag this on the end of the last video because it's only 15 more minutes.